Call the meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Alciano Elderly and Disabled Tax Fund Relief Committee. I'm Dave Ralston. This is an open meeting and we are recording it. And if anybody else is recording it, which they're privileged to do, they need to at least notify me of the fact that they're recording. Okay, we have all our membership here. We have a guest.
Al's here.
Oh, Al's here, okay. Okay, good, and going to use the agenda for the meeting of October 30th.
Mhm.
Do you have a copy of the agenda? I mean, it's pretty simple.
I have it.
Okay. And, the first order of business is to review the minutes from our September meeting. And I have extra copies of those minutes in case anybody needs to look at them. There you go. That's not, they're single or maybe 2 pages, but it's not the whole thing. That minutes? Yep. Okay. Yeah. Very efficient. I'll give you a chance to look at them. Like this? No,
Yeah,
you haven't.
I sent it to you. A draft.
Okay.
Didn't remember. Should have brought my computer.
Good. Have you had the opportunity to review that?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the minutes as produced from the September meeting?
I know.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I guess it passes. All right, the next order of business was to look at the prospectus. And I'm not sure I've seen it. You mail it to us?
We reviewed it. Last meeting.
Oh, review it. That's what I thought Mandy was going to put it on some kind of fancy, letterhead and with the stars and stripes, things like that.
Okay, when the time comes, sure.
Okay, okay.
I thought, I might be mistaken, Jim, but I thought you had sent me an email saying I should have done this before. And that maybe you had done some editing to this? No, my imagination, wishful thinking, could be.
Some combination there.
I have those things, yeah, that happens.
And you forgot to mention hallucination.
Could be, yeah, kickbacks, yeah.
Don't use that term here in
Flash-
public meeting.
flashback.
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 Kickback, no.
Flashback.
Flashback. Flashback is perfectly fine as a term in art.
This would be used how?
Well, a prospectus is used as an introductory document to potential fundraisers and funding sources. So people go in and sit down and give the prospectus that gives the essence of the program.
Yeah.
And then the question is, do we need more other written materials, et cetera, and so on? It has to be, once it's finalized, it obviously all has to be officially on city stationery, et cetera, and so on.
I think this is a pretty good description of what the fund is about. But I think we need a separate document or in addition to this, that is really a sales document.
Okay,
Before we start talking about.
Ambulance 2, respond to primary ambulance.
at 70 Allen Street.
I think we need to know how much we're trying to raise. And if we want to know how much we're trying to raise, then that raises the whole issue of how do we get to that number? And the way you get to that number thing is by what do we think the amount is gonna be and how many people do we think we're gonna help? And I don't think we've discussed any of that.
No.
Yeah, we haven't established at this point a ceiling on an amount.
Well, whether it's a ceiling. or a
Sorry to
floor.
interrupt. Is it possible, Patty, I can hear you fine. I can hear David fine. Jim, I can't really hear you.
Oh,
If it's possible, you guys can move the mic or,
yeah, I'm not even sure where the mic, I think I know where the mic is. Here's the mic. Is that, yeah. Nope, I thought it looked like a mic, but it isn't. Okay. I'll
voice is
just-
very clear when you're near that. So I think the camera and the mic are kind of the one and the same.
Okay, well, I can move down, I'm not. wedded to
If
where I
possible,
am.
thank
You
you.
can move our whole operation down, take it, perhaps. Does that make it better?
Better?
Yes,
That's better?
yes.
Okay.
I'm just also like, if someone watches the recorded meeting or something like that and they want to, it'll be
Okay.
easier for them to.
Because I don't have my back to the camera, it's showing my balls being planted anywhere. We were discussing, do we need to set fundraising goal? Essentially is what Jim is saying, right?
Yeah, and the goal ought to be based on something other than,
Whimsy?
yeah, whimsy.
I'm not sure I can, I'm not sure in my mind, a process to determine the goal that jumps out at me. I mean, my thinking is the more the better, but.
Well, yeah, but I can't speak for people that we might approach with this. But if I were being approached, I'd say, I understand this, it's a great idea. How much are you trying to raise?
Yeah.
Gotta answer the question.
Right.
Yeah,
that is a
typical response.
Yeah, and how is the money gonna be spent?
Right.
Well, we can talk about how the money's gonna be spent.
Pardon?
We can talk about
Yeah.
how the money's gonna be spent.
Well, but in terms of numbers of people and amounts, so. that's-
So, like, if we said, for an example, we want to raise $20,000,
Okay,
then our goal would be to help 20 families, 20 households.
okay,
That would be our initial goal. If we make more than that, that's fine. If in fact, depending on what people, depending on need.
Yeah.
We would want to, there might be people who need less than $1,000,
Sure.
et cetera, so.
but that, what you're saying is, we would like to be able to fund an average of $1,000
Mhm.
to 20 families. But you have $20,000 and how you spread it around is a different matter.
That assumes that this kind of fundraising is going to be an annual event.
Yep,
That's what it's assuming.
yes, it is,
That's right.
Okay.
and I think it will be.
I mean, I'm not opposed to that. I'm just, thinking, the kind of people that I think we're approaching, are they going to be willing to contribute substantial three-figure contributions, on an annual basis? I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience in that.
I don't know either. I mean, my wife was a fundraiser and at her school, she had capital campaigns, which are one-shot deals, and then there was the annual giving.
Right,
And then there was planned giving, which has to do with wills and stuff like that.
yes,
So we need an annual fund. That's basically what you're talking about.
So even though, you know, I think that once this gets rolling, although it's gonna take once it becomes known by the public, it's gonna take a few years
Yeah.
to get rolling.
Mhm.
So people donating via their
Check.
property taxes, et cetera, and so on.
Yeah.
You know, that will happen probably in not huge numbers, but small numbers that will add up over time. So because I'm kind of visualizing that, I mean, it could get better, I don't know. But therefore, I think we're going to have to do an annual fundraising campaign to some degree. You know,
Yeah,
for at least the first 5 years, if not longer.
that's probably right. And if you're gonna do continuous fundraising, then you're gonna need a fundraising committee. And you're gonna need a person to drive the fundraising for every year. It
Yeah.
could be a different person, of course.
Right. Well, we have a committee. We can do a plan. I think it gets revised as we go, et cetera.
Mhm.
Maybe the committee will grow, I don't know. But, you know, to start, we have to kind of, I mean, we can speculate all over the place,
Sure.
but to get us started, I don't think it's pie in the sky to say we want to raise $20,000 because our goal would be to assist 20 households and with an average of $1,000
Yeah.
great, you know, payment towards their taxes. I don't think that's pie in the sky. I think that's pretty reasonable.
I agree. I agree. I think that's like not like, oh, we want to raise $100,000, but it's also not like a measly, oh, we're raising $500. And I
Right.
think I do agree with that, having a yearly fundraiser, whatever that might look like, having a event, having a series of events or whatever. I think because I've come across a bunch of folks in the business community, because that's kind of just my social circle, who would love to chip in, a few $100 there, a few $100 here, just write a check. Um, and I think that we can definitely get to 20 grand. Like that's doable. It's not saying that that's easy, but it's definitely doable.
Al has his hand up.
Yeah. Al?
Yeah, if I can just make a comment.
I'm sorry, hold on a minute, Al. Do we need to open public comment?
I'm happy to, in this atmosphere, let them chip in and then,
Okay, all right,
go ahead, Al.
sorry.
Thanks. I just want to say that I think you can set a goal of a little bit more ambitious of I would say 50 grand, and I would say that I don't think you want to, I mean, an average of 1,000. I don't think there are many programs that say what their average donation is projected to be, because you'll find out within the first few years what you want that to be. But that average could end up being a complication for you, because there will be some people that you would have to give less than 1,000 to come up with 1,000, unless you just do 1,000. And I don't think, if somebody says how many people you're going to serve, I think you can say that the program is hoping to serve at least 20 people initially and see that grow, because I wouldn't want you to feel too set in concrete about those numbers. I think that most of the fund drives that
Census
I've been
requested in the
involved in
picture.
don't have a necessarily a hard and fast projection of how many people they're going to serve or how much per person. It's fine to put that in as long as you say estimated. So I don't want people to have the impression that that's all. But I think 20,000 is low when I think about corporate giving. I mean, the individual checkoff, sure. If all you were doing was individual checkoffs, $20,000 might be certainly reasonable, but I think you can get more than that from the corporate end of thing, particularly if you set some thresholds about what it means to give 5,000, what it means to give 10,000, what you're called, what kind of visibility you'll get. Some of these corporations or groups will like the idea that the fund material will maybe say at some point the donors this year are, or, you know, contributing initial sponsors. Because I think it's goodwill that they would like to get, and if that was published on the website, on the fund's website that donations received thus far are from, that's great visibility for them as donors. So anyway, I'm hoping that you can raise more than that.
Well, first of all, Al, if you're talking about corporate, right?
Yep.
And what do you
This
mean
is
by
just
corporate?
an example. I'm talking about large donors or corporations, could be profit, nonprofit, could be
Yep,
private
but
groups, it
could you-
doesn't matter.
Could you be more specific? Give a couple of examples of those organizations you're talking about. Because I was under the impression, and probably mistaken, that we were gonna pass the hat here locally to our local businesses who, while they may be they may be incorporated, I wouldn't consider them corporations in the way you're talking about it. What did you have in mind there?
The corporations would be any corporation that's on the Secretary of State's corporations list. It could be Stop and Shop, it could be BJ's, it could be Tractor Supply, it could be
Okay.
Rise Above Bakery. I'm not, I mean, this is an example of something where I'm not thinking of just local businesses having to pony up. I'm thinking about those corporations that think of themselves as local businesses, but don't do a whole heck of a lot for us. But we have some large corporations in our area that I think definitely want the visibility. So anyone who's registered as a corporation.
I think, I think, Al, when you approach these corporations, number one, they have a department that is responsible for giving.
Yep.
And every pitch they hear says you're gonna get great visibility. And I was reminded once by somebody who was offered the chance to speak and have great visibility. He said, yeah, and people die of exposure. You know? So, I don't think exposure is compelling. And what we want is something compelling. And often first of all, people donate to organizations that they have a feeling for, that, they're personally engaged in, and that's the way you get repeat. And I think the further away from Greenfield we go, I'm not saying we don't try, but the further away we go, the harder it is because there's much more competition. And because this is a city specific activity, we're not a nonprofit. That puts a spin on it, and I don't know which way the ball goes, but it's a different spin than, for example, if we're raising money at LifePath, when we raise money with LifePath, we're talking about a specific area and the corporations that are in that area. And for the walkathon, it is primarily, and I don't know what the percentage is, maybe 75% local support. But Al, you generated a memo about taking excess equity, and you couple that with the issues we're having in town with abandoned properties. That if we sell any of these properties, or however we do it, and there's money left over after dealing with everything, put the money in the fund. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, we have to find out if it's legal or not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look,
well, that's right.
That's
it's like a struggle. That looked like a struggle, just looking at what you produce. To
What Al produced.
what, the ability to use excess funds for anything but it goes into sort of an escrow looking for the people who lost their property.
Yeah, no, so when is, but it's not that. If in fact it's excess equity in terms of there is nobody claiming it. All of
That's
that process has already happened.
Exactly.
Right.
There's no heirs, dead and buried, whatever,
Right.
and there's this money. What happens with that money? Is the question, and Al raised this with me. We were talking on the corner when we had different signs one day, but we had a very good discussion about, this possibility,
Yeah.
and I thought it was a brilliant idea.
I think,
And I think, but the question is it legal? And I have not. I kind of talked to Mandy, who sent me to you, and then it was, where are the contacts in other cities to find out? Is there precedent on this? Has anyone done this yet?
To me, it struck me as being, it goes to the same place that, find your lost money through the.
Right. yeah,
Attorney General's office.
No. Did you all see my memo? I sent out a memo explaining the legal background on this about, I don't know, a few days ago.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, Al.
You didn't see it? All right, I could
No, I did
probably,
not.
I could probably resend it. It was sent on Friday, November 14th at 11:07 a.m. If any of you have your emails with you, but I sent a memo out last Friday because I took the time to do the research on what is the statute regarding this, and there's good news and bad news. The good news is that there's clear language in chapter 60, section 64A, that this money can be kept locally. In other words, it does not need to go to the AG's unclaimed funds. This is local tax money, so the state really has no claim on it. So that's the
but
good
that's
news.
the model. That's the model, Al.
Pardon?
That is the model.
What's the
we're not- The state, if there are funds in banks and all that that are unclaimed, that goes to the state. And what we're looking for is if there are funds that are unclaimed in the city, can that go to the city and into this fund specifically?
That's the question.
That's the question.
Yes, well, that's what I'm telling you. From the research I did, it's very clear that that you can take money from the excess equity and deposit it in a identified fund and use it for local purposes. And
What's the
what
statute again, Al?
pardon me?
What is the statute?
It's,
That you got
you have
this
to look
from.
at you have to look at two sections. One is chapter 60, section 64A. And it's subpart D1. That's where you get into, it says, begins with the sentence, upon the sale of a property or an appraisal of property where the judgment holder, that would be the town, has elected to retain possession, the judgment holder shall prepare a written itemized accounting of the property. And you have to talk about excess equity. And it says that a little bit later down, excess equity shall be held in escrow by the judgment holder, the city, in a segregated interest-bearing account in which all excess equity funds from a foreclosure are deposited and separately accounted for on the books and the records of the municipality. Excess equity that has not been claimed within 19 months of a sale or appraisal of a property shall be disposed of pursuant to chapter 200A. So then you have to go to the chapter 200A, and that's where it says that you can use the money for any party may seek a determinant on something else. That's about an appeal. It says that you can 200A. It says that the funds can be used. It's for whatever purposes the city determines, but it has to, but it can be kept locally. The funds shall be recorded as revenue in the general fund of the city. And then it talks about the upon as cheat, which means the claiming of the funds by the city. The funds shall be available to the city, town, or district's appropriating authority for appropriation for any other public purpose. So you would have to, two things would have to happen. The city council would have to adopt this section, which is the section 200A. That's the part that has to be adopted by a vote of the city council. And that's 200A, section 9A, by the way. It's called disposition of abandoned funds by a city or town. So it's in there that you find the language that any district, any city that accepts this section, and then it says, you have to look at a third ordinance, section 4 of chapter 4. If you take a look at what I sent you, I think your impression, like mine, will be, well, this sounds sort of detailed and cumbersome, but I think the city's lawyer would probably tell you, yes, it's very clear that this money can be retained and should be retained locally. And then the question is, the city council would want to, say that for the purposes of excess equity, that equity should be deposited in the elderly and disabled tax fund. What would you call it? The discretionary account or segregated account. So it's not to be put into roads and bridges or whatever. It's to go into this fund. So if you take a look at that, you'll let me know if you don't have it, but I sent it all to you on Friday. If you didn't receive it, just let me know and I'll send it again. Or if you want, I can send it again right now.
Please send it, because I know I didn't get it.
You know,
All right.
I couldn't find it. It was under info at Sprawl Busters, right?
Yeah, mhm.
Yeah, and I couldn't find it.
I'm gonna send it right
But I
now.
remember seeing it.
I did see it. So what you're positing is that there's a 19-month period in which a claimant can come forward to claim
Yeah.
the excess.
That, and there actually, it appears that that's possible that it could be a little bit longer than that, but it depends on, I'd like either the committee or city council, city staff, city attorney to look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't think any other program that I'm aware of actually looked at this issue of disposition of excess equity, because it's a new issue, because up until last year, there was no such thing as excess equity. That's because of the Supreme Court case. So unfortunately, I doubt that there's anybody who's even looked at this, but it's not it's Byzantine, but it's not impossible to do. And I think it could last longer than 19 months. So I want it to be clear that it's not something that happens immediately. You first have to determine that you have not been able to find. You give people their 18 months for people to respond, and then 19 months for the actual money to be allocated to this fund. So in other words, the legislature gave it an extra month after you've determined that nobody has come forward to redeem this property, to take the excess equity in 18 months. In 19 months, you can start to consider it. But I think there's another appeal process. If somebody comes forward and says, hey, that's my money, the city, I think it's the treasurer, has to decide whether it's, there's a preponderance of evidence that suggests that that in fact is something that is likely to have merit or not. And then the person has a right to appeal to Superior Court if a city says, wait a minute, we don't think that's yours. There's an appeal process that goes beyond that. So the legislature, I think, was a little bit overboard in trying to look at how to protect people, but some people would probably say that's a good thing.
Yeah. I would.
So anyway, there is a process. The money can be kept locally. There's no question about that. And it all is based on the city council accepting this section 200A. And I've just sent it to you again. So I would just say probably you don't want to try to absorb it tonight, but you can take a look at it and maybe at your next meeting decide whether it makes sense. But the big question was, does it have to go to the state? And the answer is no.
Okay, thank you, Al.
Minhas, you had a question?
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Minhas.
So what I was
I'm
just gonna say
thank you,
is, it does seem like it would be some work to do what Al is saying, where you get that excess equity, and then you put it into fund like this. But also with that is that if there is, and it could potentially, I mean, my goal would be, like I said many times on the council floor too, is for whoever actually owns it, for them to get that excess equity, right? But the city is saying a few times, they've mentioned that there's a few cases in which there simply hasn't been anyone that they can find. So in that case, we know that the city has been reaching out to them and working on them. And so it's not like we just get like $200,000 because like it looks like a lot of these properties are very dilapidated. It could just be that we get like, I don't know, like 5,000. I'm just making a number up. But
Yeah.
I would like that number, however small, to go to this committee instead of, okay, it's going into the general fund and then it's gone into nothing. I think if nothing else, it's a good um, look for the city to show, hey, okay, we're not in the business of snatching people's homes and, filling our city budget, but rather we give this back in the form of relief to our elderly and disabled folks. So I support it, and I think I don't know what the process would be to reach out to the city attorney, but I think that should probably be the next step.
No.
Okay.
The next step, actually, I think the next step would be, I'm on appointments and ordinances. So I will take Al's information. I will do my due diligence and try to craft, an ordinance. Obviously, that's gonna get reviewed by the attorney as well. But to get this ball rolling, so it can get before the council, before we get any more gray hair. Because things take time
Yeah.
to get before the council. So I'm actually volunteering to try to start this ball rolling. Because I think if this can happen, this would be a great thing. It
Yeah,
really would be.
it makes logical sense to me to use that type of funding for this type of effort.
Absolutely.
There is a logical connection there.
The concern I have is I don't know that you can earmark the funds before they go into the general fund. Now, then, there are two scenarios. Number one, you can earmark it and then we're done. Number two is it has to go into the general fund. And then I don't know what the process is for releasing those funds to this specific project.
Mandy, do you know? Mandy? You're muted.
Yeah, sorry, it takes me a second when my screen acts up. I do not.
Okay,
In order to get back,
we can find out.
Yeah. we will put that on the agenda for next month or next meeting, whatever that is. Because, yeah, I mean, this is a lot, I mean, we're all in favor of it. It's a logical use of that type of monies. And it will be a source of great support for the fund itself. So let's leave it the way it is for right now and go back to the other fundraising plan.
Okay.
Because I think
Well,
that's.
David, can I make one comment? I think
Sure.
Patty's offer to go to
Oh, yeah.
to the appointments and ordinances is a great one, and I think
Yeah.
that while it allows A&O to start working on it. And instead of spending another month and then giving it to them, I think Patty's suggestion makes a lot of sense. Go to them now. And they can put
Okay,
it on
so-
their agenda because
Right.
the city council will be the appropriating authority.
Right.
I believe that's how it works. And they would under this section 200A9A, they would appropriate it. And what people hopefully would be asking for is that it would be appropriated to the elderly and disabled tax fund. Which I don't know whether that fund has even been set up on the books yet, but that would be something that A&O could talk about with Mandy, but I think you can actually get going on it with Patty's suggestion rather than kicking it down the road for another month.
I wasn't intending to kick it down the road. I guess the best way we can as a committee is to make a formal motion that Patty initiate the process to bring this to the A and O,
Yeah.
A and O committee for adoption of the process by which these funds can come to us.
Yes,
That makes
exactly.
sense?
Yep.
All right,
I second.
all right.
I,
Any further discussion? All right,
we're voting on this, Mandy.
Mandy, so is all those in favor say aye?
I,
Okay, so you'll initiate
Yes,
a process with A and O.
yes.
Yeah.
Bit of information on this.
Yeah.
So right now also A and O is going through all these ordinances. It's that every 10-year cycle like Davis, I guess, where you have to review all the different ordinances. And it's so much fun. Anyway, we're all doing that right now, just to let you know, it's not like we're just sitting around waiting for something to do, but I will move this forward as tough as I can. And I think people will be very enthusiastic about it, frankly, so.
Is there an automatic sunset on anything you don't review? Like, does it just go off the books? You know, no goats on Main Street or whatever?
I think we should allow goats on Main Street. I think that's a big debate.
I think we have a bunch of
I
goats.
think they're adorable myself.
They're old goats.
Old
so
goats.
But is there a sunset if you don't do that something?
I wanted,
Not that I know of,
Okay,
not that I know of.
I wanted to clarify something. I understand the term excess equity.
Yep.
If there is a potential owner. And, you know, but
If it's
if,
not excess,
then it's,
if
well,
it's not excess, if there's if there's an owner.
the excess equity goes to the owner.
The equity goes to the owner, yes. Excess equity after taxes go to the owner,
After,
yes.
after all the expenses.
Right,
I'm thinking about the abandoned or dilapidated properties. And let's assume for the moment that, we can't find the owner. Well, there are gonna be expenses associated with dealing with the property.
right.
And therefore, what we're talking about is the sale minus the expenses, including all the tax stuff. Those would be the net proceeds.
Yeah.
So those are two different situations, I think.
No? I think it's the same situation.
Well,
So.
okay, we foreclose on your house and, we get $150,000 and our costs are 50.
Mhm,
$100,000
goes to me.
goes to you.
Mhm.
We get the house. You're nowhere around. And we pay off the taxes and then we have to pay to demolish the house. Possibly.
Mhm.
And so then what we're talking about are net proceeds. Because there's no excess equity, there's no equity, there's no owner. See what I mean?
but though,
No.
you're talking about property that's retained when there's a tax lapse, right?
Yeah, and maybe
Because
it's
If a
too fine
property
a
is
point.
auctioned.
Yeah,
If a
But you're talking
property's-
about, you're talking about equity that has no owner because you
That's
can't
correct.
find them. In the
That's
first
correct.
case, in the example you're talking about, if there's $100,000 in equity, I get it.
Yeah,
Then,
of course.
and I get that. And then the town has the choice of selling my house or getting a developer to buy it, for example. And all those expenses, they don't come out of my equity, my excess equity. I keep that.
right.
Yeah, no, but the town expense, yeah,
Town would be expending money to maintain the property or.
yeah, well, if the situation is as you described it, Al. The city has foreclosed, it has incurred a whole bunch of expenses in that process. And whatever is left over is the excess equity, and as you say, it rightly goes to you.
Mhm.
Right, but you'd have to get clarity maybe from city council is that if the town decides to instead of sell your home to tear it down. The owners, if the owner has been identified, they might have strong objection to that. But if there's nobody identified, I don't think you can just tear down a house and say that replaces the equity that you would have had. I mean, you still have an excess equity that belonged to an owner, they just couldn't be found. But ask the lawyer that, ask the lawyer that.
Okay.
I don't know the
mean,
answer.
Your question really is, aside from taxes and the expenses associated with acquiring the property through foreclosure, is the remaining money available to deal with the property? Because the property may need to be maintained, or it may need some repairs, or it may need to be torn down. So I think that's the question. The money
But if
that
you-
is
if
left
you-
over from the foreclosure process.
Right, but if you tear down a house and the owner turns up 6 or 8 months after the deadline, they're not gonna be happy.
Well,
Yeah, they
they're
say,
not
well-
gonna- But that, but I've already stipulated that we have a situation where we have not been able to find the owner. The owner does not exist as far
Could I
as we
ask
can
a
tell.
question?
Yeah,
Yeah,
We're
but the
get-
owner
we're
can
getting
come
off-
forward. The
we're
owner
getting
can
off
come
track.
forward after the 18 months and say, I never knew that you were after this. Take a look at the language that I sent before you go too far into that, because the owner has more rights after the 18 months of, the first year is redemption, is just straight redemption. You give them a 12-month, they have to have 12 months to possibly redeem what they owe. But if that doesn't happen, then they have another 6 months to decide whether they want to come forward and identify themselves. But even after that, they have rights to appeal to court if they think you took
I
their house.
stipulated that we couldn't find anybody and nobody appears.
yeah, but I think, gentlemen,
But
we're
it's
getting
a
down,
lawyer thing.
we're getting down a rabbit hole
Yes.
that is not relevant to our current concerns.
Okay, yeah, just one
Yeah,
thing.
let's just move on to, that's an arcane area that may or may not be valuable to
Okay.
know, but not right now.
I mean, we do need the opinion of counsel about all this.
Clearly.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So
Can we go back to,
the solicitation of
yes,
businesses, corporations, individuals.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'd like to talk about.
So I think, in terms of, when we talk about, businesses here, there's places like Bay State
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
other places that have, some kind of a funding community funding mechanism set up, whether it's a foundation or whatever.
Mhm.
And that's what I think we're talking,
But-
that's what I think we're talking to.
I think that's true, and also, I think because this isn't,
Mhm.
helping, a regional, it's not a regional issue. I think it's so local that I think that we need to prioritize those corporations that have a location
Mhm.
or
Local
a significant business in Greenfield
Mhm.
itself.
Yeah.
I don't think Yankee Candle is likely to give us
No.
money, I just don't see that, so that, I'm thinking of things, and I have no idea, but I would assume that somebody like Cumberland Farms would be a very potentially good target, because I bet they don't give a lot. Yet they have a big presence here.
Greenfield Savings Bank, Bay State.
Yeah,
Those two.
I mean, we basically run down the list of the GBA.
Yeah.
And the chamber, the Greenfield members of the chamber.
Right.
So, I mean, we have
Do we have a listing
oh
of the GBA members?
yeah, we can get that from Hannah. And all
Okay, let's get it.
right, I'll talk to Hannah about getting that list.
Right.
Also,
Does it-
with the potential committee that would go out and try to meet with some of these business owners and try to recruit some of that funding, I volunteer myself because I am kind of familiar with some of those folks already and kind of have done some of this work in the past. So I volunteer myself.
Well,
And-
maybe you're the right one to talk to Hannah about getting the list.
Sure, yeah, I can do that.
Okay,
There's
Well,
a bunch of
well-
also businesses that aren't listed in the GBA. Like I know we aren't,
yeah,
I mean,
but yes,
there
that
are-
is a good list.
Does that list include places like, Cumberland Farms, which, you know, is a.
I
a
doubt it.
large-
I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, there are, GBA members have a stake in the community. And what I'd like to do is also focus on those corporations that make money off the town. But
The
don't,
vendors.
yeah,
Hmm.
that don't really contribute much to the life of the town.
Does
Like,
Does the community college have some kind of foundation attached to it?
Of course, yeah, they have a foundation,
Well, that's
but you aren't getting close to that.
Greenfield Community College, why not?
Because the foundation is for them, and they're not gonna give up any of it.
Oh, I see, okay, so it's not a giving foundation, it's their foundation.
yeah, their foundation.
Already, that's different.
A receiving foundation.
They get things, they don't give it.
So how do we identify those people that aren't even civic enough to belong to the GBA or the businesses?
Well, okay, this is what I mean, like my
Those are the
family's
people-
business,
those are
we
the
aren't part of the
SOBs I wanna
GBA
get.
either, right? Because I mean, this is no shade to the GBA or anything, but like for a lot of folks, it's just it doesn't do anything.
Right.
So I think we shouldn't limit ourselves to any specific list, but
No.
I do definitely agree that, larger corporations that do have a entity in Greenfield are making money in Greenfield, we should definitely reach out to them. Stop and Shop, Big Y, Aldi's, Tractor
Sandry.
Supply, Home Depot, all of these people, and you say, hey, thank you for being here in Greenfield. We appreciate the business and the services that you offer. Here's a program in which you can give back to the community, and we can have all sorts of different ways in which we can highlight how your donation has impacted us. We could do a press conference, we could do a report on the article, we could just get Anthony over here. Like there's a million different ways in which you can be like, okay, Home Depot, if you do give like, I don't know, $1,000, we'll make sure that the community knows about it and it won't just be something that's not highlighted. But I think let's get this going, and I can take up some of that work where I can go around and try to find businesses that would be willing to. Some I already know, and others I think we it shouldn't be like, oh, we forgot. Let's first compile the list, and then we'd spent 6 months compiling the list, and oh my God, we forgot a business. No, let's just get it started. There's a bunch of businesses out there, and I can, start, looking through the GBA, looking through the Chamber of Commerce, Greenfield members, looking through just also being in the community. We know which businesses are here, and I would be willing to, and if someone else could help me with that, that would be great. But meeting with some of these people and also trying to be like, okay, this is what we have going. What would you guys like to contribute? Would you guys like to contribute? What are the benefits of doing so? Yada, yada, yada. But
What about the Stoneleigh Burnham, Greenfield Center School? Are they any potential resource?
I mean, I graduated from NMH. NMH does a lot of stuff, right? Just on their own. And I mean, potentially, and like those schools could, give out, but I know that they do a lot of charity work and a lot of aid work on their own, in their own capacity. They have like whole armies of volunteer groups doing this thing or that thing.
The center school, by the way, is embarking on $1 million fundraising campaign because they're at risk of going out of business if they don't raise the money. So they're not, I would not go to the center school.
No.
I don't think we're gonna find a dearth of community of businesses. I think we're gonna end up finding that there's a lot of businesses that would qualify, and how much can we get from them? How do we process that? How do we, make it appealing to them? And then I think that's going to be our concern, not necessarily, oh, we can't find any businesses. Because I mean, thankfully we live in Greenfield rather than, up the trail where there's like 3 businesses per town. We do, as much as people like to say we don't have businesses in Greenfield, there are, a few. And I think there's a significant amount where if we have somewhat of a goal like 20 grand, 50 grand, 30 grand, I think we can achieve that. We can.
So let me just say this, so I think it's important. So, yeah, we need the list of the hit list, let's say.
of where we're gonna go. But I also think it's very important, so the prospectus needs to be zhuzhed up, so it looks, it's professional. The sales sheet
Yes.
that Jim is gonna do needs to get done.
Hey, what?
You said you were gonna do that, didn't
I
you?
did?
Yeah, I heard you. I wrote it down.
She wrote
It's in my notes.
Whether you agree or not, she wrote it down.
Yeah, before we like reach out to X, Y, and Z to be like, hey, can we get some of your money? We do need to have like some sort of a
Tax
Sales pitch.
website, some sort of
presentation.
yes, yes, I agree.
Yeah, and I think, in terms of, smaller places, if you wish to, take the packet and go, I think that's fine. For larger places, I think two people should go, like for Bay State, et cetera, and so on,
Yes.
because the whole thing is, we're not a 501c3. We're a committee with a city, we're dealing with the city fund. So it's kind of like they're not gonna get a tax break from giving us money. It's gonna give them feel good and some visibility when we say thank you publicly. So it's kind of like it's a more delicate dance, I think, than if
It's
you were
free
a
advertising.
501c3. Yeah, no, it is good advertising, but I'm just saying for the approach of this, that's how I'm
Yep.
trying to visualize how to do this in the best way so we can, glean as much as possible, because actually we're gleaning money,
Hmm.
I
think, Wahab, you raised a point that I hadn't thought about. When I said that these major corporations have, departments, corporate giving. I was thinking in terms of big money donations. The small money donation, you may be able to get with from the local franchisee.
Sure.
And so I agree that some of the corporations that have local presence,
Mhm.
Are operated by franchisees and, they may kick a couple $100 into the pot. I think the critical thing is to understand what the threshold is before they say corporate will take care of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe we can fly under that. And Mandy, can we get a list of the vendors to the city that have made more than, we paid out more than $100,000 to in any given year?
Repeat that?
Yeah, sure. Can we get a list of the vendors to whom we have paid more than, for example, $100,000 a year?
I can check with Catherine in accounting.
Okay, that would be good, because if we can, then we have a pretty good list of people who have skin in the game here, whether they're members of the chamber or GBA, doesn't matter.
So process wise, we're gonna use the list that Wahab can get from the GBA. We need to sort of also have lists of other potential businesses as well as nonprofits that we can solicit. So we should, at our next meeting, have complete a list of potential donors. Is that fair? And then,
Wahab was also gonna
Yeah.
record the Greenfield businesses in the chamber who are not members of the
Right.
GBA.
right,
Yes, I can do that.
Okay,
and so for the next meeting, we will develop our final list. And we can add to it. I mean, it's not like it's definitive.
That's our initial list.
Yeah, it's our initial list, and then we are looking at sending members of our committee individually and in pairs out to these vendors.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, I'm willing to volunteer for that, but I'm going to tell you about my personal situation before we close the meeting. So so for our next meeting, Patty will have a sense of where the A&O committee is going. We will have a list, because we're getting near 6:30. We'll get a list of people we want to, our businesses and individual, perhaps even individuals that we want to contact. for soliciting, contributions to this. We also, I don't think we should give up on the, requests sent out with the tax bills. And because that seemed to be a
We
mainstay.
should still do that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if we're gonna still do that.
Yeah.
What else about fundraising would you suggest?
Well, if you have a list, and which is great, then I think you want to segment the lists because, the larger employers in town need to be approached a little differently than the mom and pop shop.
Sure.
Exactly,
But that, but the list is the core
right,
and then we can figure
Then
out.
we can divide it up amongst us to say,
Yeah.
right.
I know this person, or
Sure.
I'm a regular shopper at BJ's and, whatever.
Mhm.
Okay.
Hey,
Um,
David, the other thing I wanted to mention is that there are people in the community who may have a particularly close relationship with somebody else in the business community, who, if you give them the materials, the prospectus and the sales pitch and so forth, they can just make that visit. I don't think you want to just say, the four people, 5 people on a committee will do it all. I mean, to me, that's noble of you, but some of us may have a particular business where we're very, close with the owner, closer than anybody on the committee would be. And I don't see any harm in having someone approach that owner and say, by the way, did you see this, that these people are raising money? Because it's I think it's an effort that probably is going to you're going to want to have it go beyond the committee because it's a fair amount of work.
We had already taken a vote earlier at another meeting that a committee member needs to be part of this. So I think I hear exactly what you're saying, Al, but I also think in that situation, if someone does have a particular relationship with somebody, then a committee member should go with them to the meeting.
And you can
Well,
always-
I'll put it this way. If somebody calls you up from such and such a business and says, I want to give you $1,000 because so-and-so approached me, I hope you won't turn it down.
Well,
Because I don't think
What
the
you're
point-
talking about, Al, is a referral, and that's just fine. I think what Patty is talking about is how you close the deal.
Well, I'm talking about how you close the deal too, because some people will close the deal like a law firm or some other group that one of us may know. I would say to them, just call them up and make the contribution based on the material. They don't need a meeting necessarily, because fundamentally people give money to people. Fundamentally, they don't give money to corporations or other.
Al, I don't think those are mutually exclusive. I think we can go with both approaches. One, we could, reach out to people ourselves. Two, if we have people in the community who are particularly close with certain businesses, we can have them as a liaison. And if they think a meeting, rather than a meeting, just a phone call will work better, sure, whatever gets us the money,
Yeah.
we shouldn't,
Well,
I don't want to let the process get in the way of, and each business might, work differently, have a different approach,
Referral sale.
and whatever
Referrals.
works.
A referral is a referral.
Right,
But
you tell me, because I'm not going to spend time, trying to line people up if I have to, make a referral and then you close the deal. That's just.
Oh, no. I
That's-
don't think it's
that
contingent
is not
on
what I
like,
said. That is
Yeah.
not what I said. What I
Yeah.
said was that we took a vote on this committee that a committee person would be involved in the solicitation piece. So what we're saying is that when a meeting gets set, we're not saying it can only be a committee person. If a meeting
Yes.
gets set, that a person from the committee goes with you or whoever from the community. If somebody from the community says, Joe Blow in this company is interested in donating, I've got a meeting set up for 5 o'clock on such and such a date, who can go with me? Somebody from the committee will go with them. I mean,
Okay,
I don't think that is
that's-
not, there's nothing unreasonable about that. in terms of, we're representing the city of Greenfield. We were appointed to the committee. A committee person needs to be part of the solicitation, that part of the deal. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, that's fine if you have the
Yeah,
time.
I agree with it. And I mean,
That's-
if there's some
We'll make the
noble
time.
business,
We'll
right,
make the
or
time.
individual who doesn't want any exposure at all, doesn't want to meet with anyone, just wants to give a donation, fine, go right ahead. But I doubt that that will be the case. I mean, you know,
I don't
You're
think we
saying,
take
when
blind
can I
money.
expect the check?
Well,
No, we don't take blind money and Lord knows where it's coming from. Come on, folks.
No, I think.
This
I
is
think-
clean.
Yeah, no, but I think the idea is it's an anonymous, it will be listed as an.
No, absolutely. If people,
Donation.
if that's their desire, absolutely, of course.
Okay,
okay, to sum up, you know, we are going to have further exploration of the excess funds possibility through the A&O.
Yes.
We're going to come back next time with specific lists of people and businesses that we think should be approached as part of this effort.
Yeah.
And we will continue to do the solicitation through the mailings of bills to individual taxpayers, which seems to be the most common way that this is funded,
Yeah.
though the results in towns like Newton and Melrose that are far richer than us seem to be very meager, is what I've been
Yeah.
told.
Right.
You know, so that's not gonna be, we're going to have to do the solicitation of funds from businesses.
with respect to the checkoff boxes, when should, which bills should we start with? Should we start with, the,
Third quarter is coming up, right?
well, should,
February.
yeah, or should we wait until the first quarter of next year for the checkoff boxes?
What do you think, Mandy?
I can contact AP Jones and see what it entails. He already said that he has another place doing it, so I don't think it will be difficult for him to add it to the third and fourth quarter bills.
And do we have a fund yet established within the city to receive the funds?
Not yet. I'm going to be opening the account at Greenfield Cooperative.
Okay.
All right,
What do you start with $1?
yeah,
Well, I have a check that I'm hoping to be able to deposit into it. I just have to check on it.
Okay,
how much is a check?
400
Oh, that's
and
right, yeah.
$6.26.
Right, yeah,
House in Grove Street.
That's right, okay,
Donation.
sorry.
and housing for Hope Street? Oh,
Yeah, the housing
okay,
election that just happened,
okay. $486.
that's what's left.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's cool.
Excess money.
Good. Okay. Anything else on, that needs to be anticipated for our next meeting, on fundraising? Okay. I mean, obviously, we can, this is a continuing discussion.
Yes, we're done.
Personally, I am going to the Carroll Center for the Blind starting at the end of December. And it's a residential program. It's gonna be picking up vocational skills, so I will be entering the 21st century in the cyber world, hopefully.
I thought you had a vocation, I mean, an attorney.
Yes. But it's getting very difficult since I can't even read a computer anymore. It's, you know, so they're hopefully gonna give me skills. So it's a real gift that's paid for by the Mass Commission for the Blind. Yeah. and
So you're on leave.
I'm gonna be on leave. I'll participate via Zoom.
Oh,
Okay.
But Patty's the vice chair. You'll have to take over the leadership position.
I'll attempt it.
Oh, you do so well.
And but the next meeting, you know, I'm leaving, essentially, leaving for 2 weeks in Florida. I know, don't cry for me.
Right.
Around the 10th or about the 13th of December. Do we want to meet before then? Or do we want to meet after the start of the new year?
Bob, what do you think?
Holidays.
Well,
Holiday.
yeah, that's my one thing is that, you know, like if we could meet earlier in December, that'd be fine. But as you get closer and closer to the holidays, we all get pretty busy.
No, all hell breaks loose.
Well, I'm not, you know, I'd like to keep our momentum going and I'm happy to meet, you know, I'm gonna look at December.
I didn't bring some proof with me. Oh, have it. All right. Oh dear. All right.
In terms of Thursdays, there's the 4th and the 11th, which
And there's the 18th.
I'm gone on the 18th. Maybe, you know,
I believe I can do December 4th
December 4th,
or 11th. I can do either one, probably the 11th. Give us a
Yeah,
little
I think
time.
yeah, I would like to do the 11th.
Okay, let's do the 11th.
All right.
Is the 11th okay with everybody else? Maybe
Yes.
my
At
last-
It works
6
for me.
p.m., 5:30, or
5:30.
Okay,
So we're doing this on the 11th.
Yes.
we'll do this on
And
the
you will be
11th.
here for that and you will get an agenda up.
I will get an agenda up and I will, you know, make sure that am I gonna do the minutes for this meeting or Wahab? You originally agreed to do the minutes.
I had did it, but then it's so complicated. It's so much. I had used AI for the first one, and then my AI subscription ran out, and I was like, I'm not spending 25
That's my-
damn dollars on
As my
another
last
software.
leader- As my last leadership gift to the committee, I will do the minutes.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were
Okay,
gonna
thank
give
you.
Wahab a subscription to ChatGPT.
Hopefully I'll know all about that stuff once I go to blind school.
Okay,
Okay.
very good.
All right, so we'll
Good.
adjourn till 5:30 on December 11th. I will make sure that the agenda is basically going to be continuation of fundraising discussion.
Right.
And, you know, report on the A and O efforts.
Right.
That's the 2 items. And we'll meet here at 5:30 next December 11th.
Okay,
Happy Thanksgiving.
motion to adjourn.
Thank
Seconded.
you.
All in favor?
Thank you all.
Okay.
you.
Thank you.